It sort of feels like I'm in a dream. It's hard to tell what day it is. I think I've been home around a week. The symptoms get a little bit better every day. My biggest struggle has been the breathing. And I think that today I feel the best so far. My name's Maureen Boland, and I'm a high school English teacher at Abington High School. You just never think. I think of myself. I'm reasonably young still. I lived a healthy life. I ran for decades. That kind of stuff doesn't happen to someone like me. Don't we all think that?
Sunday night, and the big story on Action News is breaking right now. 2 new presumptive positive cases of the coronavirus were confirmed in our area this afternoon, both in Montgomery County.
I've been watching the news stories and getting increasingly nervous about what I was reading and hearing. And then I think there was a very dramatic turn over the course of just a couple of days, the week before my school shut down. That Wednesday night, there was a very ominous news conference.
My fellow Americans, tonight I want to speak with you about our nation's unprecedented response to the coronavirus outbreak.
The world seemed to change overnight.
Today, the World Health Organization officially announced that this is a global pandemic.
That Friday, I had off, and my daughter and I went for a walk. And about halfway through the walk, I don't feel like I can even make it home. That was my first really distinct sign. And then I got home, rested, and took a nap. And when I woke up, it was clear I had a fever, chills. I just thought it was coronavirus just from all I'd read, as I said. So on Saturday, I didn't want to waste time because of my asthma. So on Saturday morning, I called my doctor's service, and the doctor on call said, if you don't have breathing troubles, just watch yourself and call back if you start having trouble breathing. I had a fever and chills for days and days and days. Just when you think you're finished, then they come back. The nights were so hard. I was in pain. I would have 6 blankets on and be freezing and then have to take them off. I would wake up in sweats. Every night was that way. It was the sickest I'd ever been. Going through the drive-through testing site was really a dystopian experience. Everyone's dressed and it looks like hazmat gear, and they're very strict. You pull up and you wait and they call you and you have to show your license through the window. It felt like a little bit like the end of the world. On Thursday and Friday, my breathing became notably worse. I was struggling. It was becoming more shallow.
Saturday morning, she woke up. Her sister called, who is a 30-year nurse at Penn. Her sister felt strongly that Maureen should go to the ER.
My husband said, come on, pack up, we're going.
Yeah, it was tough knowing that I was going to drop her off and not be able to follow her in and monitor her care.
You're closed away in a room. The door can't even be open. It's closed, so you're by yourself. When I got in a regular room, there was a window, and they often communicate through the window, and they call you on the phone. And then even when I started getting meals and sometimes medicines or different things I needed, there's a door, and they send it through a door. It really is the lonely disease, being there by yourself. It's a strange feeling when you're at your most vulnerable. You're feeling your sickest, you're so weak, you're confused, you're scared. A doctor would come in and tell me something, or nurse, and then I'd look it up on my phone. or I'd watch CNN. I was watching the whole debate unfold about hydroxychloroquine as it was being given to me. That was scary.
Why should we be testing it in a test tube for a year and a half when we have thousands of people that are very sick? They're very, very sick. And we can use it on those people and maybe make them better. And in some cases, maybe save their lives.
Today, there are no proven safe and effective therapies for the coronavirus.
It was the second day she was there. She was still deteriorating, and I was finally starting to speak to the doctors who seemed very concerned about her breathing problems. 2 doctors had talked about the possibility of putting her on a ventilator, and that really scared me and just completely felt like a gut punch.
I ended up getting the hydroxychloroquine. I never ended up in the ICU, and I never ended up on a ventilator. I called my best friend at that point and burst into tears and told her I'm getting out. How foolish to think that we're not also fragile and we can't succumb to something like this. So the fact that I had made it through and I was getting out, it overcame me. It sort of washed over me when they said I could be released. I was so happy. Just the utter lack of control that I felt being a patient with coronavirus and coming close to not being able to breathe on my own, that lack of control really overwhelmed me. And so I think that it took me days. I'm still coming to terms with it, but I have a heavy heart watching the news every night. A very heavy heart, because I think, in part, thank goodness I came through it. But of course, all I'm thinking about, which student has it? I worry about my students. I worry about everyone. I'm sure it is throughout my community and was throughout my community, and we just didn't know. People weren't getting tested. My case is a perfect example. It was really hard for me to finally get tested, and it still is hard. After I came home from the hospital last week, I wanted my family tested, and my family doctor tested my husband and older daughter, but my pediatricians decided still not to test my 16-year-old. Some places are testing faster than others. Some have rapid results. It's very variable, I think. And that's one of the unfortunate aspects of this pandemic.